What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the review for Married at First Sight Season 16, Episode 10, you guys. The episode is titled Love is Up in the Air. Now, before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't yet subscribed, then do me a solid favor and stop taking out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into Married at First Sight, shall we? All right, you guys, I don't know how long this review is going to be because this episode, honestly, it felt like a filler episode. It was just boring. It took me all day to watch this episode. I started watching this episode at 11 a.m. this morning, Central Time. I didn't finish this episode until about 2 o'clock. So yeah, so we're gonna go in order of my notes. So the first couple up is going to be Jasmine and Hits from the Streets, you guys. So for majority of this episode, Hits from the Streets has COVID, right? So he's quarantining. He always finds it a way to take a dig at Jasmine, and I just don't like that. He's talking about a soup she made and how, you know, he would rate her a 6 as taking care of him. But you were just praising her of some episodes ago, talking about, you know, if I'm down and out, I know you'll be right there by my side, and she was by your side. He just, I feel like when it comes to Hits from the Streets, he just loves to take a dig at Jasmine, and I just don't understand why he wants to take digs at Jasmine. Honestly, Jasmine, I'm hoping and praying for decision day for you to say no and pick yourself and find you a good man, Savannah. Find you a good man, right? So at one point in the episode, we saw Jasmine and Hits from the Streets as they went to go wash the dog, right? So in this episode, now mind you, in this episode, we only saw Kirsten and Shaquille, and I believe Jasmine and Ayers, as well as Gina and Clint, right? They were the only ones that I saw. I don't know if Nicole and Chris did it, but they got a delivery and it was basically asking them questions, you know. I know with Gina and Clint, they had to hold hands while they were doing it, but I didn't see the other couples who participated in it do it, right? So actually, Jasmine and Ayers didn't do it. Jasmine and Ayers played a game of Never Have I Ever. He was asking her, has she ever kissed somebody of the opposite sex? Have you ever cheated on an ex? Have you ever had a threesome? Or was that her to ask that? Whatever. One of them, everything that he was asking was pretty much sexual. You say that you're a sexual person, but your wife wants to feel like you desire her, wants to have sex with her, but you're not doing it, but you want to ask her these questions about sex? I'm not understanding the part. If you're not sexually attracted to her, why ask the questions? It's moot. It's a moot point. It's mundane. It's stupid. It's nothing, right? So actually, they did do that game because, you know, it was one of the questions was, you know, he asked, no, this was them playing that Never Have I Ever, or was it? He asked her how many times has she been in love. He figured she'd been in love 5 times. She said 3 times. Then she was about to ask him how many times has he been in love, and she said, never mind. I know the answer to that one. You've never been in love. And I just have an issue with that, right? You're almost 40 years old and you've never been in love with somebody. With Eris, it just gives very much so that he has just went around his entire life just using women, having sex with women, right? And at one point he was talking about he got close to loving somebody, but he was talking about the fragile male ego. No, sir, that would be just your ego, because mine is not fragile at all. I don't have a fragile ego. So just you. It's just you. So when they were playing that game of Never Have I Ever, when he was asking it, I would have said, sir, never have I ever had sex with a cousin. Can you put a finger down? Because I feel like you and that cousin of yours done something. And it's really given that she's a play cousin. Because I just, that woman is just so eek about Eris, AKA Hits from the Streets. That's all I got for Hits from the Streets and Jasmine. Let's go ahead and move over to the next couple. All right, you guys, Gina and Clint. I'm trying to figure out what I want to say about Gina and Clint. With Gina and Clint, actually, I know what I want to say when I first want to start out with Gina. Nope, we'll wait. Clint. So Clint was on the phone with his mom, right? So, his mom is asking him how things are going. Things are going swimmingly compared to the honeymoon. So they're in a much better space than the honeymoon. Now, if you ask me, do I see Gina and Clint making it to the, past decision day? Absolutely not. So his mom, I'm assuming his mom is an entrepreneur, right? So he's asking his mom, like when it comes down to her and her business, is she always consumed with her business, or does she find time for the things that are very, near and dear to her and important in her life? Well, his mom says, for her, she does make time for the things that she wants to make time for, right? But then she also says, when she first started her business, she was much like Gina. You want to be in the business, you want to be hands-on, you want to make sure that everything is good and, running smoothly, especially in the first year of business. My only issue and concern when it comes to Gina is the fact that Gina seems like it's okay to talk about your business, right? It's okay to, want to nurture that because you're just starting up, right? But the issue with Gina is it's a constant bringing up the business. You constantly bring it up. You constantly talk about it. It feels like it's a commercial, right? It feels like Gina is using Married at First Sight as a ad for her business, for her hair salon, right? That's all I get when it comes to Gina, because in this episode, we see Clint, and where did he go? To Gina's salon, right? And like I said, surprise, surprise, I believe that this is just marketing and promotion for Gina's salon. I ain't hating on the girl, but that's what it is, right? So I don't know if you would call, well, I guess you would call her a hairstylist, right? One of her stylists was talking to Clint, and she was telling Clint that she expected him to be messy because Clint was making some fart jokes and whatnot, and she was like, "You're messy, aren't you?" And both he and Gina said, "No." She was like, and Gina was like, "Why would you think that he's messy?" She says, people who make fart jokes and all that kind of stuff, they're typically messy. And I was like, is that a fact? I wouldn't know, right? So we see Gina and Clint as they're answering the questions, right? So they hold hands with each other. They lock hands. She said, "Are you a biscuit or are you a waffle?" I was like, "A waffle?" Okay. I guess, right? So they answered the questions. I wasn't really paying attention to the questions that they were answering, but I do know one thing that Clint said, that, he had gotten the girl pregnant at one point, and that he wanted the baby, but, ultimately it was the girl's choice of what she wanted to do, if she wanted to carry the baby to term or if she wanted to have an abortion. But unfortunately, the girl had a miscarriage, and I do hate that for, him and her, right? So then we later see Gina and Clint as they went out sailing. I see Gina and Clint making the effort, but like I said, I don't see Gina and Clint going the long way with this marriage at all. I don't see Gina and Clint making it past decision day. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, if you think that Gina and Clint will survive past decision day. Again, I don't. Then at the end of the episode, we see Gina and Clint as I don't know if they went to a concert or what. I don't know what that was they went to. Again, like I said, I see Gina and Clint trying, but I feel like it's like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's forced, but I don't see it. I don't know. I just don't see it. I want you guys to tell me down in the comment section what you guys think, and we will kind of go ahead and move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So next up, Nicole and Chris. Nicole and Chris. Nicole and Chris. Yikes. Like I said in last week's review about Nicole and Chris, I do see Nicole and Chris being a good match for each other. I do see Nicole and Chris saying yes at decision day and making a healthy, lasting relationship, right? The issue that I have when it comes to Nicole and Chris is the fact that I just don't know if Nicole and Chris have gone to therapy. I just want Nicole and Chris to go to therapy. That's the main thing that I want for those two to do, because when you look at Nicole and Chris, it's a whole lot of trauma bonding with those two, right? So we see them as they went to go get a couples massage, right? Chris says the last time that he went to get a couples massage, it's been about 10 years or so, right? And he went with the ex that was a toxic relationship. I was like, oh God, it's like everything that Chris and Nicole do, they can bring it back to a terrible relationship that they had. And that is not something that you want to talk about. Ooh. I really wonder, have these two been to therapy? And I was praying, watching this, I'm like, for the love of God, please don't let them trauma bond. Please don't let them trauma bond. And they didn't. So with this scene, as I watch every scene with Nicole and Chris, you guys notice that I said in last week's review that with Nicole and Chris, I do see the fact that it's not just Nicole and it's not just Chris. It's both parties. When it comes to Nicole and Chris, both of them will bend and stretch to be who the other wants, right? And it's kind of like they, how last week's episode, Nicole wanted Chris to asked him if he would wear that ugly Hawaiian shirt, right? She really wanted him to wear it, but she was like, if you don't want to wear it, it's okay. And he's like, I kind of don't want to wear it, but if you want me to wear it, I'll wear it. It's like they both kind of are people pleasers. I know Chris is a people pleaser, but Nicole is giving it as well. I don't know if Nicole is giving a people pleaser, or if she's giving a little bit of a pushover. I think it's a little bit of both, people pleasing and being a pushover. Just my personal opinion. I'm not saying that that's what they are. It's just what it gives to me personally, right? So we see Nicole and Chris as they went out on a date with each other, right? Now this is where I started to cringe a lot with Nicole and Chris, because in this date, Nicole at one point, she brought up love, right? And, she's talking about, basically who will be, it seems like she's trying to say, who's going to be the first person to say that I love you, right? Because she kept saying, I love, if we get into an argument with each other, I want to say that I love you, despite the fact that right now I don't like you. And I picked up on the clues with Nicole. I feel like with Nicole, what Nicole was doing was, Nicole was trying to get Chris to say that, he loves her, and then she can mirror it, right? Because she's like, you can say I love you, and, the other person doesn't necessarily have to say it back, right? But to me, it feels like maybe Nicole is already falling in love with Chris, and she's testing the waters to see if Chris loves her in return. And if she should, she really wants Chris to be the first person to say, I love you. And Chris was talking about the fact that, he was in a previous relationship and he said, I love you too soon. And at that point, you can't take it back, right? It's just like, oh my God. Again, I like Nicole and Chris, but have they gone to therapy? Because I think they need therapy, you guys. I really do. So then we see them both talking about, here's another example of them feeling like, I feel like they bend toward the other once, right? Because they were talking about their appearances, right? I think both Nicole and Chris look good, right? Now I just want to ask a question, because Nicole, I get being offended by the term thick, right? But I think thick means different things for different people. I do believe thick means different things for different people, groups of people, right? Because for us as black people, thick means you got big titties, for women, big breasts, big boobs, big breasts, big ass, and for men, a thick man is, a thick man is somebody with a little, maybe muscles, or somebody who is a little fluffy. So but she got offended by it. And I mean, if she got offended by it, I am not going to take that away from her, right? That's why I say, I wonder, it just depends on her definition of thick, right? Because I feel like Nicole took thick to mean fat, right? But Nicole was not a fat girl. Nicole has big breasts. You know, she's not a she's a curvy girl. She's curvy, voluptuous. So I don't think anything's wrong with her. But yeah, that's really all I got for Nicole and Chris. I want you guys to tell me what you guys think down in the comments below, and we'll move forward. All right, you guys. So last up is Kirsten and Shaq, right? So Kirsten, she was on the phone with her friend, and she was talking about how she enjoyed the honeymoon and them moving in together. And I was like, wait a minute, say what now? You enjoyed it stuff? Kirsten confuses me because when you look at her sometimes, she's complete. It just looks like she's not interested at all in Shaq. And I'll just be like, what the hell? I don't understand them. So then we see them at one point and they're talking, right? So he enjoys just spending time with, you know, his significant other. He enjoys just spending time with you, right? She enjoys quality time because they're talking about what'll help each other fall in love. He just likes to spend time with the person that he's with, right? She wants more quality time, you know? And I'm like, okay, y'all can't compromise? Because when she was talking about quality time, if you looked at his body language was kind of screaming, I don't want that. They confuse me, but that's neither here nor there. Like I said, Kirsten and Shaq very much so confuse the shit out of me. But that's neither here nor there. Here's what I want to talk about with Kirsten and Shaq. And I'm trying to figure out the nicest way that I can say it and it not come off offensive. Well, it's not going to come out offensive. I'm just trying to think about the nicest way to say it. When it comes to Shaq, I have one big question. Shaq, I applaud what you do with these mentees, right? I applaud you, my brother. But the only question that I have when it comes to this, you and the mentees, do you have friends your own age? Like, I just really wonder if he has any male friends or even female friends. Do you have any friends your age? Because when you went to go shop for your tux, you went with your mentees, you didn't go with any of your friends. And I've asked this question multiple times. Do you have friends your own age? Like, that's my question. Do you have any friends that are your age, right? Again, I applaud what you're doing with these children, these young men, right? I applaud it, right? The mentees said they find Shaq to be very relatable, and that's good, right? You know, he told them that he got a job offer, and it was out of the state, right? Or in another city. I think it's out of the state, actually. And he turned it down for Kirsten. And, you know, she was happy about it. She's cool with that, right? And I have no issues with that either, right? If you want to stay here in Nashville and, you know, cultivate your relationship and, you know, cultivate your relationship with your wife and these mentees or whoever, I'm cool with that, right? So then we saw Shaq and Kirsten as they went to a botanical garden, right? The whole time they were at that botanical garden, Kirsten looked hella bored. I just kept looking at her facial expression. She just was not there. She wasn't interested. It gave, why am I here? I want to go home. I don't give a damn about these plants, right? That's really what it was given to me personally. But you guys can tell me what you think down in the comment section below. Now, let's wrap the episode up with this final scene with Kirsten and Shaq, you guys. So Kirsten has surprised Shaquille with a home spa, right? So they do that and they talk. I'm gonna start with Kirsten first and I'm gonna end with Shaq. So she was basically telling Shaq that there's a lot about her that he doesn't know. So he asked her to elaborate, right? She couldn't tell him anything that he doesn't already know about her. And he's wondering, when is she gonna feel safe enough with him that she can let her walls down and feel vulnerable and safe with him, right? Shaq, I'm gonna talk about one thing first and then I'm gonna end with something else. Shaq said something that very much so related with me, right? So now I don't have a scar on my head, so I don't relate to that scar, but I definitely do relate to his story of him talking about why me with the hair loss, right? Now Shaq is fully bald. I'm not. I still have hair. I have hair right here, and I still have a little bit of hair right here. It grows. It does grow. It's actually in the last year or so, it's grown a lot more than what it had previously grown. It's getting a little bit fuller. I need to figure out something to make the hair follicles grow back because there's still hair follicles right here. It's not completely bald, but much like Shaq when he said he went bald in his 20s. Now I didn't go bald in my 20s. I started, so I think by 19 years old, right here right here it started to, thin. So really and truly what it is with my hair is I'm not I'm not completely bald because like I said, I still have hair right here. I'm just really thin. It's really thin hair, right? So that's what happened with my hair. It is very thin, but I do have hair right here. I have hair right here, hair on the sides, and full of hair in the back, right? So I do understand him, wondering why me, right? Because in my 20s, I definitely you could see it when I get my hair cut that it was very thin. You could see through my hair. And I was asked the question, like, why me? Like, why am I losing my hair? Because if I post pictures of me, if I show y'all pictures of me with my hair, I have beautiful hair. Love my hair. And it just made me feel like I was older than what I was, right? It makes you feel a little insecure, especially when people say you might want to go ahead and, time to let it go, right? It just made me a little insecure, having to know that I'm going to have to shave off all my hair. But honestly, it's a lot easier. I prefer that as opposed to going to the barbershop. So I'm cool with it. These days, I'm a lot cool with it. But in my mid 20s to late 20s, I wasn't cool with it, right? Because I'm a young man and then my hair is thinning, right? So I understood him in that aspect. Now, you guys, so the next thing that I want to talk about was Shaquille. Shaquille was also talking about some other insecurities that he has, right? And I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just saying from the way he was talking, that's how it sounded to me. I'm not insinuating. I know people believe that Shaq is gay, right? Everybody's talked about that on social media, that Shaq is gay, right? I'm not going to insinuate that he is, but just listening to him talk to Kirsten about, him not playing sports and all that kind of stuff. To me, the way he led that conversation, if you go listen to the wording that he said, it very much so sounded to me like he is someone who possibly could be struggling with their sexuality. I'm not saying that he is struggling with his sexuality. I'm saying it just sounded like someone who is struggling with their sexuality. But that's really all I got for Married at First Sight. You guys, let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comment section below. You guys subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, and until the next time, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Be blessed. Wash your hands. And I'll see you guys in the next one.